थैंक यू सो मच सर। और कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हैं और हमारे सम्मानीय अतिथिगणों का स्वागत व आभार करने का समय आ गया है, जिसके लिए मैं सबसे पहले आग्रह करना चाहूँगी मानव रचना यूनिवर्सिटी के चांसलर डॉक्टर प्रशांत भल्ला जी से कि हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय माननीय पूर्व राष्ट्रपति भारत श्री रामनाथ कोविंद जी का स्वागत करें एक स्मृति चिन्ह व शॉल द्वारा। देवियों और सज्जनों, ये दिन बहुत खास है। माननीय मुख्य अतिथि महोदय हमारे समक्ष इस सभागार में हैं, अपना बहुमूल्य समय निकाल कर आए हैं। जोरदार तालियों से स्वागत करें माननीय पूर्व राष्ट्रपति भारत श्री रामनाथ कोविंद जी का। I would now like to request Vice Chancellor Manav Rachna University, Dr. Dipendra Kumar Jha, to present token of gratitude and a shawl to our honorable guest of honor, Justice UU Lalit ji, former Chief Justice of India. थैंक यू सो मच सर। और अब मैं आग्रह करना चाहूँगी मानव रचना शिक्षण संस्थान के उपाध्यक्ष डॉक्टर अमित भल्ला जी से कि वे स्मृति चिन्ह व शॉल के द्वारा स्वागत करें श्रीमती कौशल्या लाहौटी जी का, धर्म पत्नी जस्टिस RC लाहौटी जी। और साथ ही मैं मंच पर इनवाइट करना चाहूँगी लाहौटी जी की तीनों बेटियों डॉक्टर पंकज सोनी, डॉक्टर अर्चना मंत्री व मिस वंदना मारदा जी को। और मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी डॉक्टर अमित भल्ला जी से कि डॉक्टर पंकज सोनी, डॉक्टर अर्चना मंत्री व मिस वंदना मारदा जी का भी स्वागत करें शॉल द्वारा। आज हम जस्टिस RC लाहौटी जी की स्मृतियों के बारे में जानेंगे, उनके कुछ ऐसे अहम फैसलों के बारे में जानेंगे जो देश हित में रहे। और लाहौटी परिवार के लिए एक बार जोरदार तालियां इस कार्यक्रम में सम्मिलित होने के लिए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आप सभी का स्वागत। Once again would like to request Vice Chancellor Manav Rachna University, Dr. Dipendra Jha, to welcome Honorable Justice Shri K.K. Lahoti ji, brother of Justice RC Lahoti ji, and present a memento and a shawl. Request his son, Advocate on Records, Mr. Divikant Lahoti ji, to join him on the stage. और मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी डॉक्टर दीपेंद्र जी से कि दिव्यकांत लाहौटी जी का भी स्वागत एक शॉल द्वारा करें। थैंक यू सो मच। Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite the Honorable Chancellor of Manav Rachna University, Dr. Prashant Bhalla ji, to grace us with his presence and address the august gathering.
Honorable Chief Guest Shri Ramnath Kovind ji, the former President of India, Honorable Justice UU Lalit, the former Chief Justice of India, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to be part of the inaugural session of Justice RC Lahoti Memorial Lecture Series being organized by the School of Law, Manav Rachna University. I welcome you all to Manav Rachna University. This is a historical beginning, particularly for Manav Rachna Law School, to start a memorial lecture series to commemorate one of the longest serving Chief Justices of India. To me, nothing could be more befitting tribute than this to a remarkable jurist who contributed significantly for the promotion of legal education as the chairperson of the advisory board of Manav Rachna Law School. This day is to be cherished beyond measure. Justice RC Lahoti, as the 35th Chief Justice of India, authored more than 340 judgments, which include many historical judgments. It's heartening to mention the inaugural of the lecture series is graced by former topmost constitutional authorities, which indeed is a rare opportunity for students of law, faculty, young lawyers, judicial officers, and entire legal fraternity to cash in on all the knowledge and experience that the former President and the former Chief Justice of India is going to share with you this afternoon. After all, it is for you, and you must take this exposure to your utmost advantage. I am sure this is going to be a new chapter of your life in the pursuit of your legal journey. Since assuming the office of President of India in July 2017, Honorable Shri Kovind has focused on promoting inclusivity, equality, and development. He has been a symbol of unity and integrity, representing the nation's values on both domestic and international platforms. He has emphasized the importance of education and skill development in nation building and supportive initiatives aimed at improving the quality of education, enhancing vocational training opportunities, and promoting innovation and entrepreneurship amongst the youth. Honorable Justice Lalit has delivered several landmark judgments that have had a profound impact on Indian governance and jurisprudence. Throughout his career, he fearlessly represented high-profile personalities in crucial cases, including BJP leader Kalyan Singh in the Babri Masjid demolition case and Salman Khan in the Black Buck poaching case. His judicial legacy includes landmark judgments, notably the ruling on the practice of instant triple talaq as void, illegal, and unconstitutional in 2017. And for people here and the young students, before you set out on your new journey, resolve yourself to kindle in your mind the fire of hope, faith, courage, and tolerance. Once you have these states in mind, you are ready for bigger challenges in life. I advise you to put your learning to practice, utilize the opportunities when they come, grab them with both hands. Dear learners, never be complacent, nor remain indolent, but be resolute and focused. Keep adding values and life skills to your repertoire. They will always help you to overcome your woes and worries. Another thing you must keep in mind is that the whole nation is our family. We must learn to live together happily despite our differences. I urge you to take some responsibility in building a new India. Once again, I welcome you all to Justice RC Lahoti Memorial Lecture Series and wish you a very best. And I hope that this whole event that has been planned would really go a long way in the history of Manav Rachna. And thank you everyone for being here and for gracing the occasion. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. I now extend a heartfelt invitation to Dr. Archana Mantri, proud daughter of the esteemed Justice late Shri RC Lahoti ji, to join us on the dais. Your presence and reflections on your father's rich legacy would deeply resonate with all of us gathered here today. Huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Dr. Archana Mantri.
माननीय श्री रामनाथ कोविंद जी, भारत के पूर्व राष्ट्रपति, माननीय श्री यूयू ललित जी, भारत के पूर्व मुख्य न्यायाधीश, सभा में उपस्थित अनेकों गणमान्य व्यक्ति, शिक्षाविद एवं प्रिय छात्रगण, बात सिर्फ एक व्यक्ति या व्यक्तित्व की नहीं, एक विचार या विचारधारा की भी नहीं। आज बात उस युग पुरुष की है जिसे हम सब न्यायमूर्ति श्री रमेश चंद्र जी लाहोटी के नाम से जानते हैं। इसीलिए उनके परिचय की शुरुआत उन्हीं की शैली में कही हुई इन दो पंक्तियों से करना चाहूँगी। कुछ लोग थे जो वक्त के ढांचे में ढल गए, कुछ लोग थे जो वक्त के ढांचे में ढल गए, कुछ लोग थे जो वक्त के सांचे बदल गए। वक्त के सांचे बदलने वाले ऐसे महान व्यक्ति स्वर्गीय लाहोटी जी का जीवन परिचय देना चंद मिनटों में आप सभी मानेंगे असंभव है। मैं फिर भी कोशिश करूंगी। Born in Guna, Madhya Pradesh in 1940, Justice Lahoti graduated LLB with a gold medal and joined Bar Council at his hometown in 1960 as a pleader and later became an advocate in 1961. Justice Lahoti dedicated his life to the practice of law with an unwavering integrity. As an advocate, he selected cases based on merit rather than financial gain, fiercely arguing for truth and justice. He displayed utmost empathy towards his clients, knowing very well that they would come to the court of law only as a last resort. And so, he valued their time by preparing each case very meticulously. After practicing law for 27 years, he was elevated to be a High Court judge in 1988. He continued to be sincere and diligent and carefully reviewed each and every case which was to be pleaded now in his court. Advocates then and even now bet that he knew in advance what next argument the lawyers would put forth, and so even as a judge, he continued to be formidable, incomparable, and oftentimes surprised people with his intelligence, wisdom, wit, and presence of mind. Justice Lahoti served as the Chief Justice of India from June 2004 to October 2005. During his tenure as judge in the Supreme Court, as also mentioned by other dignitaries also, he gave many landmark judgments to our country. But despite holding top post in Indian judiciary, he remained deeply connected to his roots, and he took several initiatives to uplift Guna region, his hometown, through charitable work that continues even today. In his personal life, he was equally caring and approachable for his family. He found a purposeful delight in finding the perfect gifts for children and would love to receive occasional gifts from them, especially if it is a stationery item, an innovative stationery item. But when offering advice, he listened patiently, analyzed problems thoroughly, and focused on long-term impact while empowering others to make their own decisions. A firm believer in value-driven work, Justice Lahoti was influenced by luminaries like Mahakavi Tulsidas ji, Swami Vivekanand, and late Honorable Justice J.S. Verma ji. He regarded Justice J.S. Verma and my grandfather, Ratanlal ji Lahoti, as his gurus. His judgments remained rooted in legal principles, examined societal angles, traced back its historical or traditional aspects, related past to the present, and even detailed what implications this judgment may have in future. On each single day, he approached his role with a sense of divine purpose. Beyond his formidable legal mind, Justice Lahoti had a great sense of humor and thirst for learning, especially for technology. In his quest for learning new things, he had a rare collection of choicest books in his home library on subjects ranging from life skills, philosophy, religion, traditions, and literature of quite a few languages. Yet, he believed and lamented that faster adoption of technology can be a game changer in our judicial systems. He was fluent in Hindi, Urdu, and English, and always wanted to learn Sanskrit. Justice Lahoti led a simple, principled, and disciplined life. He would get up at 4 in the morning and would tidy up his bed, iron his clothes, and prepare his own tea, all such tasks by himself. He would keep his office spick and span. I can see Anshika smiling there because she worked with my father for quite long, and she knows how he would keep his office spick and span, simply because he considered his work as worship. For him, working and discharging his duties was as if he was worshipping God. लोग अंतिम समय में प्रभु नाम लेते हुए मोक्ष की प्रार्थना करते हैं, लेकिन लाहोटी जी अक्सर अपनी सहधर्मिणी यानी कि हमारी माँ से कहा करते थे कि मैं अपनी अंतिम सांस तक काम करना चाहता हूँ। और एक सच्चे कर्मयोगी पर प्रभु की असीम कृपा देखिए कि अपने अंतिम समय में अपोलो हॉस्पिटल के आईसीयू में लैपटॉप पर आर्बिट्रेशन की ऑनलाइन दलीलें सुनते हुए उन्होंने महाप्रयाण किया। मुख में तुलसी दल था, माथे पर कस्तूरी तिलक और चेहरे पर असीम शांति। न्यायमूर्ति स्वर्गीय रमेश चंद्र जी लाहोटी साधारण दिखते थे, लेकिन असाधारण प्रतिभा के धनी थे। अत्यंत सुलभ थे, किंतु मूल्यों से कभी समझौता नहीं करते थे। व्यवहार में सरल थे, लेकिन जटिल बातों का बड़ी आसानी से विश्लेषण कर लेते थे। ज्ञान का भंडार थे, किंतु सलाह मांगने पर ही देते थे। अनेकों पुरस्कारों और उपाधियों से सम्मानित थे, पर नम्रता की पराकाष्ठा थे। सच कहूँ तो वे आसमान थे, लेकिन बहुत झुककर चला करते थे। और इसीलिए people who know him say oftentimes Justice RC Lahoti was an institution in himself. So today, let us all promise to continue his legacy, which is that of integrity, empathy, and lifelong dedication to truth and justice. Amen.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर अर्चना मंत्री जी। और आपकी इन सभी स्मृतियों से हमारी आंखें तो नम हुई, लेकिन साथ ही मस्तक भी गर्व से ऊंचा हो गया। ये हमारे लिए सौभाग्य है कि हम इस कार्यक्रम का हिस्सा बन रहे हैं और आपने यहाँ आकर जस्टिस RC लाहौटी जी की यादों को ताज़ा कर दिया। एक बार ज़ोरदार तालियां देवियों और सज्जनों, समस्त लाहौटी परिवार के लिए। It is with great reverence that we extend a warm invitation to our honorable guest of honor, former Chief Justice of India, Shri UU Lalit ji, to grace the dais with his kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for our honorable guest of honor.
Honorable Shri Nath Kovind ji, former President of India, Mananiya Shrimati Kaushalya Lahoti ji, Honorable Justice KK Lahoti, former Judge, Madhya Pradesh High Court, Dr. Prashant Bhalla, Chancellor, Manavarachna University, Dr. Amit Bhalla, Vice President, Manavarachna Educational Institutions, Dr. Deependra Jha, Vice Chancellor, Manavarachna University, the family members of Justice RC Lahoti, some of the former judges of Delhi High Court, Madhya Pradesh High Court who are present today, the faculty members of this institution, the students, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor to be standing before you and say few things about Justice Lahoti. The fact that he's regarded as an institution is something which is absolute truth, and there can't be any two opinions on that issue. Dr. Mantri said very beautifully, कुछ लोग होते हैं जो वक्त के सांचे बदल लेते हैं, and that's the kind of personality Justice Lahoti was. I never had any occasion to have interaction with that great man on a personal level. My interactions with this gentleman and the institution was only in courts of law. I appeared before him few times when he was judge of Delhi High Court, and later when he was judge of the Supreme Court. So the man who had that great desire, not just to do justice, but to deal with it in such a way that you create precedents which will be applicable and which will be acceptable to the entire community for years to come. So therefore, his desire was always to find the truth, go by that logic, lay it down in precise words, so that it becomes easier for the progeny to follow everything. As Dr. Mantri said, he knew everything, but his judgments won't actually be boasting about it. His judgments would show the innate desire to make it palatable, make it understandable for everybody. So I have picked up few judgments because today the topic given to me is the journey of Justice Lahoti through his judgments. Very difficult to pick up few judgments and then build a theme around that. The person had given 342 beautiful judgments, but I have, going by the limitations of time that I have been given here, I have picked up 6 judgments. 3 of those judgments were in a combination of 7 judges, so therefore that has become the locus classicus and status of law which it has attained for the country. And 3 judgments which are bench decisions where he delivered one and he was party to 2 others. I also had the privilege of appearing in few of them, so therefore I know exactly how the things shaped up in court, what were his responses, and why those responses were exhibited by the person concerned. The first one which I may pick up is P. Ramchandra Rao, which is a judgment by 7 judges of the court. And the bench was called upon to consider, because by that time there were 3 or 4 judgments rendered by division benches of 2 and 3 judges combination. Those judgments had charted out a different course in jurisprudence. That is to say, if there is delay in conducting the trial, and that delay is something which is inordinate, then the accused concerned would have a right to have the acquittal or the discharge, merely on the length of that delay. That would have set completely precedents in a different order, because at times those who are influential, they can actually cause the delay to suit their purposes. So the bench of 7 judges which went into everything, and Justice Lahoti's understanding of what the societal ethos, what do we expect in a matter like this, and why should the accused get unnecessary benefits out of it. I still recollect during the arguments in court, his response was, if at all there is a delay, why can't you make a prayer for bail? Why should there be discharge or an acquittal purely on the ground of delay? Because these are some of the heinous offenses, and in heinous offenses, the interest of the society, which is actually the victim, must be given precedence. So his analysis is, what he says is, if pure delay becomes the factor to be taken into account to grant an order of acquittal or discharge, not just for the past cases, but you lay down a principle of law so that hereafter the future cases would also be governed as a result of that, would be setting principles of law by the court itself. That is to say, you'll be legislating, and therefore that is not something which is good when you consider the matter from the perspective of separation of powers. And so therefore the decision went, which upset all those precedents, and said that pure delay, a mere delay, cannot be the ground on the basis of which an order of acquittal or discharge can be rendered in favor of the accused. And he says that this would not be in the national interest. Now mark this, because this idea, quote unquote, national interest is the underlying theme everywhere in some of his judgments. So the second judgment which I have picked up, which is again a bench decision of 7 judges, which is P.A. Inaugural. And to my mind, that's one of the beautiful judgments rendered by Justice Lahoti. Inaugural was, 7 judges were constituted to consider the matter whether the state would be justified in working its reservation policy in private institutions which are unaided. Now, out of unaided institutions, there could be minority and there could be non-minority institutions as well. And 2, what should be the norm for admissions in professional institutions, which may even be minority institutions? So taking up the second question first, what Justice Lahoti said is, minority institutions which are run by minorities, either linguistic or religious, can be at two levels. Number one, school and graduation level, and number two, only professional institutions. He said, we don't have any difficulty in giving them the right to have their own admission process when it comes to the school or the graduate level courses. But the situation will be of a different dimension when you consider professional institutions. Because out of professional institutions will be walking out professionals who will be thereafter part of the society in their professional capacity. Say doctors, engineers, architects. So when it comes to professional institutions, even if it is a minority institution, they must make admissions purely on the basis of merit. So merit alone must be the criteria. Very beautifully put. That actually set at rest the very disturbing situation which we used to see around 2001-2. Because the judgment in TMA Pi, it was being read as if the minority institutions have an absolute discretion in these matters. So that set at rest all the doubts, and that's where he charted out a course. That's where Saache dhalne lage. That's how I would actually put it like this. Then the second point about reservation. And according to him, reservation could not be administered by the state authorities. The state policies can't be worked in educational institutions which are in private sector, which are completely unaided. Of course, to that extent, the subsequent constitutional amendment was brought in by the parliament, which is now part of what is called 15(5). So that's the second judgment. The third judgment, which is that Mirzapur Qureshi, that's again a fabulous judgment. Why? There was a legislation which was brought in by Gujarat government, which said that slaughter of cows is completely prohibited in the state of Gujarat. So therefore, a lot of currents, cross currents, whether that kind of judgment could be rendered, that kind of legislation could be brought in. And the matter was considered by Justice Lahoti from the perspective of Article 48 and 49 and accompanying articles. And there are very beautiful passages in the judgment where he says that gone are the days when we used to consider directive principles of state policy to be subservient to the fundamental rights chapter. Now it is an accepted norm that part 3 and part 4 must be seen together. They are partners in single pursuit. And so therefore he relies upon 48 to say, to justify that legislation, then went into some of the other facets of the matter and said that a slaughter of cows, whether they are in the capacity to produce milk or not, is immaterial, but there has to be complete prohibition. And if the government has come out with that kind of legislation, then that legislation does not suffer from any of the infirmities. So these are three judgments where you see the man's ideas. Number one, societal interest that the accused should not go unpunished. Number two, the education, professional education must be, admissions must be only on the basis of merit, and merit cannot be compromised. Why? For the higher ideals and interest of the society. Now, other three judgments. One, there was one judgment where the issue was, Archana, whether a Hindu woman, after perhaps the relationship on the marital side had gone sour, would she be entitled to stay in the premises which are tenanted premises after the husband had walked out. The husband concerned had virtually walked out of the premises. The tenancy was in the name of the husband. And Justice Lahoti's beautiful idea is what he says is that the rent legislation and the maintenance issues under the personal laws of the individuals must be seen in a manner which they coalesce together. And so therefore, the tenancy which was in the name of the husband was not for himself alone, but it was for the entire family. And therefore, the lady would certainly have a right to retain the premises. And you can't say that the lady must be thrown out. So therefore, this is a bench decision which was rendered by Justice Lahoti. And again, the interest of the community, interest of the society, and interest of such women who could be, their interest could be compromised or sacrificed because of some marital discord. Then the second judgment, which is Sarbananda Sonowal. Sarbananda Sonowal is, I have actually seen that case because I had appeared in that matter. The Illegal Migrants Determination Tribunals Act, which was constituted for state of Assam and other places, after 1971 influx of some of the persons who crossed over from Bangladesh into our country. So the Foreigners Act would put the onus on somebody who claimed to be a lawful resident of the country to justify that, yes, the onus would be on him to say that what are the reasons and what are the circumstances in which he is part of this country. Whereas that kind of onus was not there under IMDT Act. Justice Lahoti was part of the bench. The bench decision is by Justice G.P. Mathur. But again, the same concept and same ideas that, look here, if your ideal or the objective is to determine illegal migrants, your Tribunal Act doesn't subserve that purpose. Because if you allow this kind of influx, then under Article 335, the obligation which is on the Union of India to protect the states from aggression would get completely nullified. And according to that judgment, illegal migrants into the country are as good as external aggression on this country. So very beautifully put, otherwise national interest will get completely sacrificed. And then the last judgment, which was Bal Patil. Again, I had the occasion to argue that matter before him. There, Jain community from Maharashtra wanted to claim minority status on the religious ground. According to them, Jainism is a separate religion. If it is a separate religion, since they are numerically in minority, it be declared as a national minority like Muslims and Christians or Sikhs. That judgment, again, Justice Lahoti is part of that, but Justice D.M. Dharmadhikari has rendered that judgment. And what he said in that judgment is, and this is how usually the course of action before the court was, if we allow this kind of latitude to every sector or every sect in the religion, the vociferous activities in this country will be given extra boost. So today one sect comes before us, tomorrow another sect will come before us, and therefore the judgment says that Jains, along with Sikhs, have always been treated as Hindus for the purposes of Hindu Marriage Act and so many other Hindu code bills. Let the situation be as it is. It is in the national interest that let it be. So what do we gather out of this? All these 6 judgments. The desire to do justice, yes, but the desire to do something for the community which will uplift the those who actually require some kind of affirmative action, those who require help. This happened in that Dr. Archana's matter. Then the other one, that is to say, when you have illegal migrants, stop at that, because that will actually be sort of, aggression on the frontiers of this country. And third, when it comes to education, that's the future of the country. The youth will be now getting educated. Please don't sacrifice the merit. That's where this is the national interest, ideas which go and which run through as a common thread through all his judgments. And I'll again use the very same expression, because I can't stop borrowing that representation or idea, that is to Saache Dhalne, and this is what exactly Justice Lahoti did. I have had beautiful memories of my association with Justice Lahoti whenever I appeared before him. It's a great honor to be occupying the post which Justice Lahoti once occupied with respect to this institution, that is to say, Chief Advisor. So I consider it myself to be very, very fortunate to be part of this institution in the same capacity which was once occupied by Justice Lahoti, and to be before you on this great occasion. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your words of wisdom and reflections on judicial discourse of Honorable Late Justice RC Lahoti ji. देवियों और सज्जनों, अब मैं मंच पर आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी हम सभी के आदरणीय प्रेरणा स्रोत, हमारे कार्यक्रम के मुख्य अतिथि, भारत के पूर्व राष्ट्रपति माननीय श्री रामनाथ कोविंद जी को। आज इस कार्यक्रम में अपना बहुमूल्य समय निकाल कर आए हैं, उनसे आग्रह अपने बहुमूल्य विचार हम सभी के समक्ष रखें। जोरदार तालियों से स्वागत देवियों और सज्जनों, भारत के पूर्व राष्ट्रपति श्री रामनाथ कोविंद जी का।
Justice UU Lalit, former Chief Justice of India, whom we are hearing just now. Srimati Kaushalya Lahoti ji, Justice KK Lahoti, former Judge, Madhya Pradesh High Court. Dr. Prashant Bhalla, Chancellor, Manav Rachna University. Dr. Deependra Jha, Vice Chancellor, Manav Rachna University. Dr. Amit Bhalla, Vice President, Manav Rachna Educational Institutions. Members of the Lahoti family, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar to everybody. After hearing Justice Lahoti, who had the honor and the privilege to appear before Justice Lahoti, and thereafter to become the Supreme Court judge, and now he is occupying the same position which Justice Lahoti held. This is really, Justice Lalit, I did not have so much honor and privilege, but anyway, I have my fond memories. मेरी उनसे 2 बार भेंट हुई, और most probably it was 2020 or 21, I don't remember the exact date. The occasion was the celebration of Constitution Day in Vigyan Bhavan. And the second occasion was in 21, when I had the opportunity to visit his hometown, Guna. So anyway, we both were together on the dais. But I still remember, and I can say that he was a noble soul. And you see, जिस किसी के साथ में उनकी भेंट होती थी, मुझे लगता है वो अपनी एक अमिट छाप छोड़ते थे, इंसानियत की, मानवता की। और शायद इसीलिए मेरे कुछ उनसे पारिवारिक ताल्लुकात भी रहे। मैंने जज साहब को शेयर भी किया था जब मुझे मिले थे, और आपके घर भी मुझे जाना हुआ, आपकी माता जी का चरण स्पर्श करने का भी सौभाग्य मिला। When I happened to be a Rajya Sabha MP at that time, I still remember those days. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to be among the budding legal professionals today. Legal profession has always enthused me, and considering that I pursued this profession for the greater part of my life, I can't help but have a soft corner for it. Law as a profession gave me a playground where I harnessed my skills of writing and speech. It gave me a perspective about the various possible scenarios at any given point of time and how it could be utilized the most for the larger good. My dear young friends, it is also a matter of pride and privilege for me to have been invited to deliver the inaugural lecture series instituted in memory of the 35th Chief Justice of India, Justice RC Lahoti. Seldom do we come across such persons as Justice Lahoti, who was known for his commitment to judicial independence, integrity, deep humility in expressing his views and upholding the rule of law. He was one of the finest legal minds of the country with a sharp intellect. Embodying the principles of humanism, he evoked sense of justice and equality in his judgments. And at times, he even sounded like writing the basic principles of philosophy as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I am reminded of his words in the opening paragraph of a judgment when he said, I quote, unusual fact situation posing issues for resolution is an opportunity for innovation. Laws as administered by courts transforms into justice, unquote. It is one of the finest dictums ever mentioned in the court of law. It says enormously about the thought process and the vast responsibility he carried on his shoulders and tried to inculcate in his colleagues. In another instance, he showered on a critical litigant a deep sense of tolerance and dignity to be practiced in our day-to-day lives. I would like to share an anecdote from his life while hearing a contempt proceedings where the litigant had said harsh words about one of the sitting judges. Justice Lahoti noted that, I quote, the dignity of the ocean lies not in its fury, capable of causing destruction, but in its vast expanse and depth with enormous tolerance, unquote. Such was the aura of this great personality that he commanded respect from the bar, bench, and the litigants across the country. I just wanted to refer to his another judgment, Inaugural versus State of Maharashtra, but since Justice Lalit has already elaborated in detail, I am skipping over this judgment. Anyway, it all changed the landscape of higher education institutions. This is the summary, we can say, Justice Lahoti had an eye on the miseries of the common man, even though justice through the courts had been delivered. But it was the implementation of the verdict that shook the energy of the wronged litigants. In one such scenario, Justice Lahoti observed that the tenant can be put on such reasonable terms in order to compensate the landlord for the loss occasioned by delay in the execution of decree by the grant of an order of stay. It reduced the agony of the landlords who, even after obtaining decrees of eviction, had to wait decades for their enforcement while being paid a paltry sum as rent. We must be mindful of that class of citizens who survive on a meager rent as source of income, and hence this judgment proved to be silver lining in their lives. His incredible journey has been celebrated and appreciated across all legal circles. I congratulate the School of Law, Manav Rachna University, for starting this great initiative in memory of one of our finest legal luminaries. Dear students, laws are as old as the human civilization. Anthropologists have gathered extensive data from pre-literate tribes across Africa, Asia, and Australia to show that the interactions among the members are well regulated by traditions, customs, and even formal laws transmitted orally. Laws serve as guidelines for individual and collective behavior. They provide predictability and certainty in our interactions, thereby helping to foster trust and cooperation within communities. Written laws were required to resolve disputes fairly and peacefully, reducing the likelihood of violence or retaliation. The rights and freedoms of individuals are also safeguarded by the laws, ensuring that everyone is treated fairly and equitably. They establish boundaries to prevent the abuse of power and protect vulnerable members of the society. It would hence be appropriate to say that laws define the rules of the game. Dear students, our contemporary legal system is derived, as we know, from the judicial system set up by the British, broadly based on English common law and procedures, which has emphasized rule of law and rule by law. Though we have a British legacy in place, but with independence, much change has also been brought about. After independence, the Supreme Court of India became the apex appellate body supported by high courts and lower courts. Statutory tribunals were established for revenue, environment, labor, and other matters. The Law Commission of India was established to suggest and recommend appropriate legal measures. One of the biggest innovations which brought real power in the hands of the people was the concept of PIL, or public interest litigation. It was pioneered by our Supreme Court, and now this mechanism has also been adopted by the judiciaries of many other countries also. The government and the judiciary have initiated several other measures to promote access to justice. Nyaya Panchayats and Lok Adalats have been conceptualized for speedy resolution of minor disputes. Legal services authorities have been established to provide free legal aid to the poor. Alternative dispute resolution mechanisms have also been developed and are being promoted to reduce the need and burden of conventional litigation. Today, the courts are facing new and diverse problem areas on which adjudication has become the need of the hour. It is good to know that keeping up with the judiciary's traditions of expanding the scope of citizens' rights, the problems of current times are also getting noticed in liberal interpretation of the existing laws, especially the fundamental rights. Just few days ago, Supreme Court recognized for the first time the fundamental right to be free from the adverse effects of climate change. At the same time, I am happy to note that in recent times, both the government and the judiciary have shown as renewed commitment towards citizen-centric justice delivery system. Around 1,500 obsolete and redundant laws have been repealed. 3 new criminal laws, which are Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, and Bharatiya Sakshya Sanhita, have been enacted and will soon come into effect. They have been enacted to overhaul our criminal justice system to make it speedy, affordable, and accessible. My dear students, legal field has till recently been the domain of the men folk. But now I am pleased to see that many more women are joining the legal profession. I can see many happy faces here also. Late Justice Fatma Bibi was appointed to the Apex Court as a judge more than 3 decades ago. I had the privilege of interacting with her in 2017 during the, of course, after she retired, during the Diamond Jubilee celebrations of the Kerala High Court at Kochi, and I am happy to note that Justice Fatma Bibi has been posthumously awarded Padma Bhushan. However, the number of women in higher judiciary have been rare and sparse. Looking at all of you today, I am sure this will not be the case in future. In fact, I am happy to share with you that in near future, Justice Lalit knows, in a historical landmark, for the first time, a women Supreme Court judge would take over as the Chief Justice of India. I also appreciate the recent decision of the Supreme Court to implement henceforth a minimum of 1/3 reservation for women in the posts of the Supreme Court Bar Association committees. Moreover, at least one post of the office bearer would be compulsorily held by a woman, thereby ensuring that the reservation will not merely be superficial. Dear students, I would also like to discuss another point with you. I have always been a propagator of giving back to our society and nation. I would urge you all to provide some of your service pro bono. I have myself adhered to this principle by providing pro bono legal services to the needy and the underprivileged, especially the women. I am told that now you can register yourself under the Nyaya Bandhu program. Nyaya Bandhu program provides a framework for advancing the culture of pro bono legal services. Pro bono service could be your way to give back to the society. Believe me, this will give you immense joy and satisfaction. My dear friends, this is a time of rapid technological change. The time span between an innovation to take place and its mass adoption in society is reducing very sharply. Issues like cybersecurity, data privacy, and legal aspects in the applications of biotechnology are fast emerging as critical concerns for legal professionals. A law graduate today finds many avenues open to him or her that were simply not available to previous generations. In this dynamic and ever-evolving environment, I urge you to embrace lifelong learning. Stay abreast with developments in the law and deepen your understanding of legal principles and practice. Embrace the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. My dear students, in his concluding speech on November 25, 1949, Dr. Ambedkar told the Constituent Assembly, I quote, "However good a constitution may be, it is sure to turn out bad because those who are called to work it happen to be a bad lot. However bad a constitution may be, it may turn out to be good if those who are called to work it happen to be a good lot. The working of a constitution does not depend wholly upon the nature of the constitution," unquote. Why I have quoted this observation of Dr. Ambedkar is, you are the future of our country. It is you who will man our judicial system. Therefore, it is imperative that you develop both professional competence and an impeccable moral character. I would like to conclude with a quote of Justice Lahoti himself. In a judgment pronounced in the year 2002, Justice Lahoti said, I quote, "Every citizen of India is fundamentally obliged to develop a scientific temper and humanism. He is fundamentally duty-bound to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activities, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievements," unquote. And Justice Lalit has quoted many judgments in which the national interest was the theme. My dear students, while concluding as we commemorate the legacy of the Honorable Justice Lahoti, I urge you to propagate the ideals of justice, contribute to development of country, and use your legal expertise to serve others and create a more just and equitable society. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing pearls of wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, जस्टिस RC लाहौटी जी के लिए बस 2 ही लाइनें कहना चाहूँगी कि सादगी से बढ़कर कोई श्रृंगार नहीं होता और विनम्रता से बढ़कर कोई व्यवहार नहीं होता। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite on the dais Dean School of Law, Dr. Kanupriya, to present formal vote of thanks.
मंजिलें बड़ी ज़िद्दी होती हैं, मंजिलें बड़ी ज़िद्दी होती हैं, हासिल कहाँ नसीब से होती हैं। वहाँ तूफ़ान भी हार जाते हैं, जहाँ कश्तियाँ ज़िद पर होती हैं। Honorable Chief Guest Shri Ramnath Kovind ji, former President of India, Hon'ble Justice UU Lalit, former Chief Justice of India, Shrimati Kaushalya Lahoti ma'am, Honorable Justice KK Lahoti, our worthy Chancellor and Vice President Manav Rachna, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, esteemed members of the Lahoti family, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my privilege to host this prestigious event and propose a vote of thanks. On behalf of the entire Manav Rachna family, I extend a heartfelt gratitude to Honorable Chief Guest for inaugurating this lecture series in the memory of Justice RC Lahoti. I'm grateful for your envisioned guidance, sir, that inculcated ethical and moral values in young professionals present here. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Hon'ble Justice UU Lalit, who delved deep into the judicial reflections of Justice Lahoti. We are extremely thankful to Lahoti family for allowing us to celebrate Justice Lahoti's enduring impact on our legal fraternity. Our extended gratitude to the management, administration, and our collaborators for providing us a platform where we are able to celebrate success. We are fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated colleagues and dedicated students instrumental in meticulous execution of the event. Finally, my hearty thanks to the back and support team for the perfect logistic support and assistance. Last but not the least, we thank the Almighty for always showering His blessings upon us. Jai Hind.
Thank you to all our dignitaries and guests for joining us in commemorating the enduring legacy of Justice RC Lahoti ji, former Chief Justice of India. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to request everyone to please rise for the national anthem.
गणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind. I would like to request everyone to please join us for lunch at the ground floor of A Block. Thank you.